So what I was talking about was giving away your personal power. So basically, when we give away our personal power, what is happening is that we're allowing others to control our life. And what we're saying is that they know best for us. Now, intrinsically, the person that knows the best for us is us. And yes, we're going to make mistakes in life because that's what life's about. But we learn by our mistakes, and we have to learn to make our own mistakes and learn by them. And I was saying that, when we're younger, we look to our parents because our parents tell us right from wrong. They try to keep us safe and they are the caretakers of us. And that's natural. But as we get more independent, we're supposed to pull away from them and we're supposed to make our own decisions. And we come to realise that our parents don't know everything. They're not perfect. And that can be quite a hard realisation, that they're human, that they don't know all the answers. They haven't got all the answers. And really what we're supposed to do is look at our parents and say, well, that bit I really like about my mum. She's brilliant at this. But actually that bit I'm not so keen on. So actually I don't want to be like that. So the knowing what you don't want to be is almost as important, if not more important, as the knowing what you do want to be. And if you can look at every situation like that as a learning opportunity, if somebody's upsetting you, it's like, well, thank you for that, because now I know I don't want to be an arsehole like that. It's that easy. But when you're giving away your personal power, what happens is that people tend to then control and manipulate you because you're giving them the opportunity to do that. And this tends to happen with people that have had either very domineering parents or people that have had little parental control. So they go into adult life still looking for somebody to give them all the answers because they've not been allowed to, if you like, develop that independence. Or if they haven't had any parent control, they're looking for a parent figure because they want that, feeling that somebody's going to look after them and nurture and caretake them. So often that can go on to partners or bosses or other people that they see in either a more domineering role or a role of power or have more knowledge about something. Now, it's fine to ask for advice and ask for help from people, but it's when you're overdoing it so that they're controlling what you do in your life. And then what happens is also we become what we think they want us to be, and usually what we think they want us to be is not what they want us to be. So I'll give you an example. I was out with my mum today and we went to Harewood House. We had a little tea in Harewood House. And I was talking to her. I said, I'm a bit concerned about going home tomorrow. So because you are, you're going to be on your own for a few days and I can see that you're really struggling at the moment. And she said, oh, no, I'll be fine. I've got these two friends that will come over. And I said, yeah, I know you've got them. I said, but I just don't know whether you will ask them. Because she doesn't like to put on people. And I gently just explained to her and I said, what that means is that people are constantly worrying about you because we can't trust that you're going to ask for help if you need it. And we want to help you and we don't want you to get more ill. That would distress us much more than coming to help you. So it's that thing about thinking we know what the other person wants, but we don't. And we have to trust that they'll tell us what they want. But when you give away your personal power, what you're actually doing, three things tend to happen. The first one is they really enjoy that. They like it. They like the fact that they've got power over you. So they use it to manipulate you to get whatever you want. And these types of people tend to be those that will give you loads and loads of hurdles to jump over. And when you've done one, that's, that's done. Right, okay. But then there's another one, and there's another one, and there's another one. And you can never please them because it's not about what you do. It's about them keeping the control of you. And the goals just get higher and higher. Or they don't like it. They don't want this control. They don't like it. So what they do is they say, I don't want that responsibility. I'm sorry, I really don't want it. So they pull away. And they pull away and they start not answering our phone calls or they start blanking us, whatever. And then if you're anything like me, or as I was, I would just run after them even more. And I'd become really needy and that would just make it worse and they'd pull away even more. Or usually what happens is a mixture of the two. So they'll control you when they want something and then they don't like you being needy, so they'll run away. And at another time, which is just soul destroying, because you never know where you stand. Because all you do all the time, you just become chronic people pleaser, trying to make them happy, trying to, and you never can. It just can't. So the thing is, and this was the most enlightening thing for me, I used to think the problem was with them. I used to think it was their fault for being that way. Oh, he's controlling me. He's a control freak. Or, they're just unobtainable. They're really offish with me. I used to think it was them, but realised afterwards it's not their fault. Because they aren't bad, mad or sad. They just you are allowing that to happen. You are giving them permission to behave to you in a certain way. And every time you do that, you're giving away your power. And when you have less power, you've got less power to make happen what you want to happen in your life. So, for example, and I'm going to come on to this later, when you've got a feeder in the family, somebody who wants to feed you food because that's their way of showing love, or that's their way of controlling you. Maybe they don't want you to lose the weight because they're concerned and frightened that you're going to run off with another man, or, you're going to become more assertive, or whatever. But if you've got a feeder, every time that you give in to that feeder, what you're doing is saying you have the control to control my food and my weight. And you're giving away whatever willpower you have got to somebody else. So it's really important that we actually think about this and that we look at our giving of our power away to others. Because every bit of power we give away to others is a bit of power that we take from ourselves to make and create our own life. So again, it's not their fault. However, you're allowing this behaviour, and it is a bit of a shock horror, but that's brilliant, because what it means is that you can put it right. That you can actually change it. You've got the power to change it by doing a few simple things and taking your power back, setting some boundaries, and it enables other people to realise, oh, I can't control them anymore. Oh, I better be a bit kinder. Oh, I better not run away a bit, because she's not bothered if I'm running away from her anymore. And they'll turn around and come back. It's like if you ever remember taking your dog for a walk in the field, and your dog runs off and you run after the dog. What happens? The dog carries on running. And if you turn around and walk the other way, the dog goes, oh my God, they're going to leave me. And it comes running back because it's scared of losing you. It's exactly the same thing. The more you push and chase for somebody, and the more you do, the more hurdles you go over, the less obtainable they become. I don't know why it's that way. The problem is it is. It shouldn't be, but it is. So you just need to start taking your powers back. So let's see. How do you know if you give your power away regularly? So I've got 10 ways of knowing whether you're giving your power away. The first one is you give in to guilt trips. So are you the type of person that lets others tug at your heartstrings? Oh, well, just do this for me, but I can't get there, and really, mom, can you babysit next Wednesday and next Thursday and next Friday, but darling, I'm going out on Friday. Yeah, but you'll be all right. You can change your life, can't you? All of that is manipulation, guilt trips. Are you the type of person that regularly, I don't mean occasionally, because that's being kind, but regularly gives into guilt trips, people giving you a guilt trip? If you are, can you pop a number 1 down so I can see who is that type of person? It'll be really interesting to see who is and who isn't. Okay, so something that I really learned that was a really valuable lesson to me is that I didn't have to explain myself. That I can just say, I can't do that. That doesn't work for me. And shut up. What I would have done previously would have gone, I'm really, really sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't do that on Friday because I'm going out with my friends, and my friend really wants to go out for lunch, and we're going to this place that she really wants to go. Now, every time when you Set a boundary. If you give a reason for it, what you're doing is giving them ammunition to break down that reason. And if somebody's used to getting their own way with you, when you start to set boundaries, they will really push it. They'll really push it. And they'll go, but go on, Mum, you normally do it, whatever. So it's really important, particularly in the beginning, that you just say, darling, it just doesn't work for me. I've got other plans. What plans? It's not important. I've just got other plans. I can't do Friday. Because if you say to them, I can't do Friday because I'm going out with this particular friend and it's the place that she really likes, then they'll say something like, oh, it's fine, I'll ring her. I'm sure she'll understand. And off the trot, go to ring her, change it, and you're stuck with it. And the other person's taken your power away from you. So it's really difficult to do at first. I found it incredibly, excruciatingly difficult just to say, so, it doesn't work for me. And still sometimes I'll say, sorry, it doesn't work for me. But you don't need to say sorry because you're not doing anything wrong. You're just saying, that's not good, it doesn't work for me. So that's a tip for giving into guilt trips. Number 2, does your self-worth depend on other people's opinions of you? So when I say that is, if you think somebody doesn't like you, does that really heavily affect you? It really used to do with me. I used to think I had to be liked by everybody. I can still get a bit upset about that if I think somebody doesn't like me. I think that's a natural thing. Yeah, brilliant. Melinda says, I'm slowly learning that saying less is really more. And that is absolutely it. It really, really is. The less you say, the more powerful it is. Because they can't challenge you. Less is more in this life. It's madness, isn't it? But it is. The less you do, often the more you get out of life. So your self-worth depending on others. I used to think that I really, really thought that I had to be everybody's friend and everybody had to like me. So I'd spend my whole life trying to people please everybody to get them to like me. Consequently, nobody really liked me because they had no idea who I really was. But I'd be one of these people that if there was 20 people in the room and 19 of them really loved me, but one of them snubbed me, I would spend the whole evening trying to win over the one that was snubbing me, which is so disrespectful to the people that do care about me, that had turned up to be there, to be with me because they liked me, that I'm ignoring them. It's okay, I've already got you, I don't need you anymore. I need to win this one over, And also, I'm not a particularly religious person, but somebody said this to me about 6 months ago and it really, really struck a chord with me. They said, rejection is God's protection. And I thought, wow. I am a big believer in the power of the universe and universal energy and things like that. But I thought, it is, because that just means that you and that person are not aligned. You're not meant to be in each other's lives for whatever reason. We can't put everybody in our life. Not everybody's going to nurture us. And the people that we want in our lives are the people that are going to either add to our life and make our life better, or we can add to theirs and make their life better. And if we can't do either of those, we're better off freeing up that space for somebody who can. So, being defined whether other people like you is giving your power away. You're spending all that power trying to get that person to like you at the expense of all the other people who can nurture you and want you to become a better person, a better version of who you are, who will, support your weight loss journey or what have you. So this also things like, people like one person in your group of people don't agree with what you're doing with your weight loss surgery, for example. And you spend loads of time trying to win them over. Forget them. They're not going to understand it. They don't want to. They don't want to change their mind. For whatever reason, it doesn't really matter. Concentrate on the ones that do support you, the ones that do want you to do well. And they're the ones that are going to nurture you. And they're the ones that are going to be there if you need help. That other person, for whatever reason, you've got to let them go and just let them go. Right, okay, for this moment in time, you obviously can't support me. So I just need to be around people that can. Number 3, you struggle to set boundaries. So you struggle to say, this is the days that I can babysit. I can't babysit on Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays. Or these are the days that we're not going out for dinner this week because I need to make sure that I am eating on track. And then somebody comes up and says, oh, but I really want, So it's all about setting boundaries. You have to set your boundaries and stick to them. Not just for the other person, but for yourself. Because that gives you an element of feeling in control yourself. And when we lose that feeling of control, this is what I'm going to come on to later, that is when we start to eat badly. Because we feel that we're losing control and we feel that we're not in the driving seat. We feel edgy and not uncomfortable about ourselves, and it really can sabotage our weight loss. Number 4, you become self-pitying and complaining. So, I've got to do all this. I had to do all this. They made me do this. They made me do that. No, they didn't. Nobody made you do anything. You didn't have to do anything. You chose to do it. And you may have chosen to do it because they asked you and gone on and on and on, which is manipulation and control, but you gave into it. You were the one who decided that you were going to do everybody's washing, or you were going to clean up the kitchen after the kids when they'd left it in a mess, rather than walking out, shutting the door and making them go back and do it. We have the choice every time. It is not the other person's thing, it's yours. So number 5, you change your goals or your mind based on others' opinions, or you seek opinions on many things. So like if somebody said you were putting a dress on and somebody else said, I prefer that other dress, you'd go and get dressed even though you felt more comfortable in that dress, or, you were sat at anything, asking people's opinions all the time. You can't make up your own mind because you're always reliant on other people's input into your life. And that's about just saying, I need to find out what I like for me. Because if you're not careful, you'll just end up being a load of other people's likes and dislikes that actually won't fit well with your intrinsic self, and you will feel uncomfortable. So it's about going, hang on a minute, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to do it myself, and I'm going to find out what works for me. Yes, I might make the odd mistake, but that's what life's about. Number 7, you are hypersensitive to criticism. Everything that everybody says you think is directed at you. You see everything as a criticism. So you're valuing other people's inputs too much, or you get upset when they don't approve, and they can prevent you from doing what you think is right. So that's a really big one. You get really hypersensitive to criticism. And think that it's all about you, and it isn't. And also that makes it really hard for anybody to give you feedback. I know somebody in my life who's really difficult, and they find if I in any way say anything negative to them, they see it as criticism. So it stops me from helping them because I'm scared that they're going to take the huff. So I just let them, in my belief, keep falling over, even though I might have some really good nuggets of information that might help them. I just can't, I don't feel safe to give that information to them. They don't, I just don't feel safe, so I don't say anything. Now, I've always said, if somebody who really genuinely cares about me, and that is the thing, because there are some people that are out to get you, and there always will be. There will be people that are jealous of your weight loss journey. There'll be people that are jealous of your job. There'll be people that feel threatened by what you're doing because they haven't had the guts to do it. But I'm talking about somebody who genuinely loves you and wants the best for you. If they come to you and give you some constructive guidance, which you may see as criticism, but it is constructive guidance, it is really difficult for them to do that because they are risking you rejecting them and telling them to sod off. So I always see that as a massive gift. It's like, oh my God, they have gone out of their comfort zone to actually say, Amanda, when you do that, I'm just not sure that's working, or you really upset me when you behave that way, because I might not be aware of it. I am often not aware of it myself. And I always think, my first reaction is to go, how dare you? But then the second thing is, thank you. Thank you for telling me that, because now I'm aware of it. I can choose whether I do something about it or not. And that's the bit. It's like deciding, have they got a point? And if they have a point, and I really do think that they might have a point, then I can change that. But without that knowledge, I can't. Number 8, do you allow other people to change your values or break your moral code? So, for example, when we're younger and at school, we'll all remember it in the playground, and somebody said, go and have a fag, go behind the bike shed and have a cigarette, and we don't want to. We know that we're going to be in trouble with our parents. We know that that it's not good for our health, blah, blah, but we feel this massive peer pressure to break our values. I remember even when I was at primary school, when I was about 8, one of my very dear friends, she wanted us to, to go off, and we went off at lunchtime and we didn't come back. And I remember the anxiety that gave me, because I knew if my mum found out, I was going to get lynched. And thankfully she didn't. I've told her since, but but I just remember the absolute angst that gave me, breaking my own moral code, skipping school. But I was too scared of this friend losing friends with me. I was giving her my power, rather than just say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. You can if you like, but I'm not. She probably wouldn't have done. And she probably would have respected me much more for standing up and saying no. So the other thing is, number 9, you spend a lot of time talking about the wrongs and harms people have done to you. Oh my God, my husband did this. He said that. Isn't he awful? My best friend, oh, she's always doing this. And my boss, he never, ever lets me do this. I'm sick to death of this, blah, blah, blah. You're one of those people that hear yourself complaining about what other people do to you, then you are giving away your power. Because every time you concentrate on their harms, what you're saying is you're thinking about them. That you are actually expending your precious energy thinking about them, which means they've got more power than they had when they did the thing that you weren't happy about anyhow. So you either challenge it or you forgive it and move on. And I never forget, do you remember when there was the Charlie thing in France, that reporter where they shot all those people? And I never forget, they were interviewing a few people afterwards who'd lost people, and there was a mother on there who'd lost a child, and she just said, I thought it was just the most beautiful thing. She said, I forgive you. I don't know who you are, but I forgive you. And I forgive you because I am not going to let you take another moment of my family's life away. You've taken enough as it is. I thought that was so powerful, that she was saying, you're not having any more of this family's energy. You've already taken a child off me, you're not having any more. So it's like when somebody has harmed or wronged you, you either try to understand it and talk to the person, or you move on and let it go. Because your resentment of them is only robbing you of your life while you're thinking about what they've done. And they've already done enough damage. Don't allow them to do any more. Number 10, other people determine your, what have I written here? Your day. If you allow other people to determine the type of day you're going to have. So a good day or a bad day. So you wake up in the morning and your husband's grumpy and you have a bad day because they're grumpy. Or you walk into work and your boss is in a bad mood and you have a bad day. You can have whatever day you want. It's your day. You need to decide what kind of day you're going to have. And having a positive day and a positive outlook will mean that you will achieve so much more in your day. Taking on other people's energies is another way of giving your power away. It might not seem so because you're taking on their energy, but if it's a negative energy and it's not actually helping you towards your goals, then you are actually saying they've got power to influence your whole day by the way they are in the morning. No way. I'm not doing that. If you want to be a grumpy bugger, then that's fine. But I know if I'm grumpy and miserable all day, it just makes me feel awful. So I am not going to let you change my whole day by how you're going to behave. So those are my 10 ways of knowing whether you're giving your power away. And my 5 top tips for getting out of this, for stopping doing it. The first one is, don't apologise when it's not your fault. How many times do we do that? I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that I was stood here when you banged into me. No, you banged into me. You don't have to have a go at them, but why do we apologise for things that are not our fault? When we do that, we are giving our power to somebody else. And what we are doing is becoming appeasing and allowing them to control us. So don't apologise if it's not your fault. However, if you have done something to harm that person, always apologise. Yeah, sorry, Stephanie, am I preaching? I don't mean to be. I mean, I'm just trying to give some tips to people for how they can get over this. So, number 2, if you set boundaries and stick to them. So whatever the boundaries are around your food that you've made or around your personal life or the times that you can help people or whatever they are, Oh, sorry, Stephanie. I thought you were saying appreciation. You're saying you love it. That's great. Yeah. So if you set boundaries, stick to them. This is like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Nanny 911, where they have like a naughty step, and they say, if you do this, you go on the naughty step. And they do it the first couple of times, and then the third time they can't be bothered to get up to put them on the naughty step, and the child knows immediately, I've got them. And if you're going to put a boundary, you have got to stick to it. There is no point in putting it if you're not. So either don't because you don't feel ready to, or if you do, you must follow through with it every single time. So what you're doing is you're teaching other people they can't control you, they can't manipulate you, that you know best what's for you. This is your boundary, and you're not going above it, unless someone's in dire need or, an emergency. Number 4, something that I learned. What's the most important thing? To be right or to be happy? And I ask myself that. If I get into an argument with somebody, or my husband and I will be, we're all playing what I call playing tennis, where he's got a point, I've got a point, you've got a point. It can go on for ages, and then I'll say to myself, Amanda, is it really important to win this, or is it more important to be happy? And I'll just back down and think, I'd rather just be happy and get on with my life. It's not that important. It really isn't. And every time I engage in this game of tennis with you, I'm giving you my power, and I don't want you to have it. So I will just go, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, whatever. Yeah, if that's the way you feel, I can see how you feel. I can understand it from your point of view. Doesn't mean to say that I'm agreeing. It means I'm understanding it from the other person's point of view. And I'll just say, can we just stop this now? Can we move on? So I'm not agreeing with them, but what I'm saying is being happy is more important. I just don't want to waste my energy and time on something that actually is not that important whether I win. Now, sometimes it might be really important because I might, but ask yourself, is it more important to be right or happy? And a lot of the time you'll say it's more important to be happy. Move on, get off it. It's not worth it. Number 5, stick to your values. The biggest thing I see with my clients is when they give away their values to somebody else. They allow their values, their core intrinsic values of moral values, moral code, to be influenced by other people, which means they change who they intrinsically are and what they believe and want. Your values are yours. You know what's important to you. You know what you can and can't do, what you should and shouldn't do, or what is going to make you feel bad. I hear of people of all the time that have done things for partners or for children that they just don't feel comfortable doing, but they've done it because they've felt they ought to. No, because what you're doing then is teaching them that you think what they're doing wrong is right. So you're actually condoning poor behaviour. And our job in life is to stick to our values and hopefully teach other people that those values are better. So if it's your children, for example, if it's your children and you let them manipulate you to do something is against your values, you're teaching them that's okay. So really, really important one, stick to your values. That's what makes you the brilliant, wonderful individual you are. And those are the things that you've got to offer the world. Those are the things you've got to offer the world to show who you are and what you are works. And if you let other people change them, you're never going to be happy and comfortable. And all of this, how does it affect our weight loss journey? Well, it does, because anything that robs you of your power and gives others the influence to control you and will disturb your personal equilibrium. And when your personal equilibrium is disturbed, that is when you are most likely to get off plan. Binge eat, graze, try to fix yourself with sweet foods, crisps, chocolate, whatever that might be. Because that's what we learned to do for many, many years. We learned to give away our power, and we learned to, in order to do that, we had to self-soothe ourselves. So when you're giving your power away, you're never going to feel good. You're going to feel depleted, like there's a hole there. I've given something away. It's like, something away that I don't want to give away. It's like you've been robbed. That's what it is. You've been robbed of your power. And if you've been burgled or robbed in any way, you don't feel good. And when it's about you and your energy and your intrinsic person, then you're never going to feel good. And you're very, very likely to use what you always did, which was food, to fix that. So for us, if we turn to food and it derails us, number one, if others' opinions about your surgery, for example, they're well-meaning. Those opinions about your surgery, they're well-meaning. Oh my God, why are you going for surgery? My God, you're not going abroad, are you? Why would you go abroad? That's just terrible. They're gonna take your liver and your organs and all of that lot. I heard it all. But what that's saying is that you don't know your own mind, that you haven't done your own research, that you haven't actually made sure that it's the right decision for you. And it's your life. You and only you know what it feels like to wake up every day with the way you feel. That I knew when I was so morbidly obese, that the pain I was in every day, both physically and mentally, there's only me who could understand that. Nobody else could. And people thought I was mad. They don't now, because it's completely changed my whole life. You know, it's in every way for me, because, you know, it's my whole world now. It's my passion. It's what I do, helping you guys. But at the time, they thought I was balmy. But they were only trying to help. You know what's best for you. And it's about you saying, I really appreciate that you're trying to help me, but I really do know what I'm doing and know what's best for me. And I'm going to do this regardless now. I'd love it if you'd support me, but if you can't, I'd really appreciate if you didn't talk to me about it, because I just need people that are going to support me around me. And other people, like, they're going to change their behaviour sometimes towards your weight loss because of their fear. So their fear of how you're going to change. Like I said previously, you know, your husband might think you're going to run off with somebody else. Your best friend might be used to being the glamorous one. My sister, for example, you know, she was always the glamorous one, and then suddenly, you know, this swan appeared, and she didn't know how to handle it. She just didn't. And I think in some way she tried to sabotage my journey because it made her feel uncomfortable. Again, if it allowed that to happen and give away my power, I talked about on my sabotage videos that when my daughter, who's the biggest supporter of my journey, and she was feeling particularly down because she'd just had a baby and she'd got a bit of belly fat and she was really, really feeling down. And I walked in and went, oh my God, I went to the doctor today and I was less than 70 kilo. And she was like, you'd have to rub it in, didn't you? And I was like, what? She went, well, you know that I put a bit of weight on and I used to be 70 kilo. And I was like, Helen, never even knew. And I'm really sorry. You know, I didn't mean to hurt you. And I went away from there feeling awful. And I actually put, over a period of 3 months on, it was less than 3 months, half a stone. It was all completely subliminal. I had no idea why I was doing it. And you'd found myself going back to food. I was binge eating. I just wanted to eat all the time. And it was because I couldn't cope with hurting somebody so dear to me. And I had to really look at that behaviour and go back and go, hang on a minute, I'm giving my power away to somebody else. And that somebody else was just in a moment, and they really love me and they want me to be well, happy and live a long life. And that is ridiculous. But I know now when I am disturbed. I know when I'm giving my power away or things aren't right. On my way up here, I did a short live in the car. And I said, everything's unmanageable. I'm nervous. I'm frightened. I'm living in a building site. I feel that I'm not planning. I feel completely unmanageable. And I was eating sugar like it was going out of fashion, and I found it really hard these last few days to get off it because I'm just not feeling right in my power. I'm not feeling centered. I'm not feeling control. You know, we all have that. But I know now that when that happens, after that, my eating starts to go wrong. It's not the other way around. You know, my eating goes wrong and then it can be, but nowadays it's not. It's not like my eating goes wrong and then I lose my power. It's like when I'm losing my power, I don't feel in control of things. I know it because my eating starts to get out of hand. But when that happens, I look back, where am I giving my power away? Where am I not in control? What can I change about this? And everything's a learning curve for us all. 7 years out and I'm still learning all the time. The third one is we literally give people food, power over our food. So either we have feeders, that will try to control us through their food, and they'll bring food in and they'll say, oh, just have one, you're okay, you can have a little bit of cake, you can have a bit of a biscuit. You've not had them. I've got a client who's watching tonight, her husband, well, you haven't had any crisps for ages, because she'd been off crisps for loads and loads of weeks after doing a session with me. She'd not had crisps for weeks and weeks, and her husband was like, you've not had any, it's a new type of crisp, just have one, you know. It's like, why are you doing this? Because they feel threatened. They feel threatened by your changes. And then some people do it because it's the only way they know how to show love is by feeding you. You know, my mum's a bit like, she's sat in here now, so she probably can hear me. But she can be, you know, I'll walk through the door and she'll go, right, I've got this food for you, and I've got this. And she knows I love chocolate buttons, so there's a cupboard full of chocolate buttons in there. She knows also I shouldn't eat them. But she knows it's her way of showing love is to give food. It's through food and through other things. It's not that they're bad. It's not that they don't love us. It's just that that's their way. And we have to have the power to either say, yeah, I'll have some with you and enjoy it, or say, no, it doesn't work for me. Yeah? And the other thing I learned to do is, instead of saying, I can't have chocolate buttons, because then that's saying you've got a choice, and they can change your mind, I say, I don't have. As most of you know, I don't drink. So I never say I can't drink wine, I just say I don't drink wine. It is definitive. It is an answer that says, don't even challenge that, because I don't do it. So the way we talk about it to others gives them permission whether they can change and influence us. The other type of is where we go, and I used to do this to my husband all the time, I'm not eating chocolate this week. Don't let me eat any chocolate. And they go, oh, all right then. And then on Wednesday night, they get some chocolate out and Agabami and say, and they say, well, I'm eating chocolate, you're not. And I'll say, oh, go and give me a bit. And they'll go, no, you asked me on Monday not to help you eat chocolate. No, you're not having any. Oh my God, kill them. It's like, well, why are you giving your power away to somebody else? And then when you give that power to them to try to help you, because then in the moment you want the opposite, then it's their fault and you're having a go at them. I mean, you know, how ridiculous is that? We ask them to help us, but then we don't take the help, and then we get upset with them. You know, and then I'd say something like, well, now we have an argument, I've got to have chocolate because you've really pissed me off. It's like, really? Poor man hasn't got a clue what to do. What do I do? Do I let her have a chocolate? Anything for an easy life, happy wife, happy life? Or do I say no because she asked me to, and I know she doesn't really want to, and no, when she's had it, she'll wish she hadn't, and then I'm just going to go through her being in a foul mood all night because she's eaten the chocolate that she didn't want to eat. So it's like, you know, don't expect others to caretake our journey. It's our journey. We've got to be in control of it. And the more in control of it that we can be, the happier we're going to be. Because if we're letting other people to decide for us, then we don't really feel we've done it ourselves. Number 4, people's jealousy. You know, you're going to lose friends. People are going to feel uncomfortable with the new you. You'll come into their environment, you were always the biggest or one of the biggest, and now you're not. And they won't know what to do with it. And the thing is to just understand that it's not you, it's them. Let them go. And either they'll come back and they'll understand. Don't chase after them. Just let them go and make room for your new friends that will be the people that you'll meet on your journey, that you need to support, and just realise for that moment in time, that friend isn't supposed to be in your life. I'm sure they'll come back, or if they're not supposed to come back, they won't, but that's fine too. Negative energy is really destructive. Let it go. So the thing about somebody's day, setting your day off, if you are surrounded by negative people, get out of that group of friends. All those people, walk away. Either literally walk away and find another group of friends, or detach yourself from them. If it's in the office, don't engage in the negative conversations because it will just drag you down. You need positivity to be successful in this journey. It's so important. And the last thing is it is your life, sweetheart. Whoever you are, it's your life. You are responsible for it. You create your own life, and it's your power. And it's your decision whether you give it away every single day or not. The less power you give away, the more you've got for yourself to create the life that you want to create. And the more power, willpower, whatever you want, you've got to keep on track and keep on program. If this is just about a weight loss journey for you, I don't believe it ever is. I think it's about our personal journey, and everything in our personal journey is part and parcel of this weight loss journey, because everything that disturbs me disturbs my weight. I know it does. I absolutely know that. And I have a course called Bariatric Success Solution that specifically helps people with this. There are some people on at the moment. I'd love them to say how amazing it is if they're on there. But if they want to stay, anonymous, I understand that as well. But, it helps people with this. We look at all sorts. We look at relationships. We look at self-sabotage. We look at craving control. We look at creating your own world, making sure that you've got the right vision going forward, strategy. They're accountable to me every week. We have a group session. You have personal one-to-one sessions with me as your coach. You have one-to-one sessions with the bariatric nutritionist. It is like an all-encompassing 6 months course that absolutely gives you the best tools to break away from this absolute head funk of, shall I eat that? Shall I not eat that? People pleasing, everything that might actually derail you on your journey, and giving you a big bag full of tools along with your weight loss surgery tool for you to have something that can knock any situation on the head and get back in control of your own life. So, anybody who's interested, let me know. The people that there's Lisa and Melinda on here that have both said that they think it's great. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if you contacted them to ask them about it. But, it changes people's lives, not just with the food, but in loads and loads of ways. Gets their confidence back, their self-esteem back, helps their relationships, helps them, their jobs, their work, all sorts of things that I see when people have done this program with me, that it just changes loads and loads of things. There's another one here, Yvonne is there, so she's just said it as well. So yeah, guys, anyhow, I'm going to go and get a cup of tea, because these lovely guys that are on my VIP program, we've got a group call in 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to go and get a cup of tea, have a chat with my mum for 10 minutes, because I'm leaving tomorrow, so I'm a bit sad. And yeah, I will see you next week for the next episode of Bariatric Mindset TV, 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night. And I'm going to put in the comments a link to the website so you can have a look at the Success Solution. But, drop me a line if you're interested in knowing more. Okay, guys, you take care. Have a lovely week. And it's been lovely, those of you that have been watching. Bye-bye.